everyone, and welcome back to the Tiger Den. I hope you guys are doing well. I had a very long weekend, or week. Lots of busyness, lots of going on, and I'm sure you guys, I told most of you guys about it Monday, but I had a party, had this, had that, and it's just bleh. Thank you to those of you that showed up Wednesday for the practice of the workshop. I really appreciate it. Your guys' feedback was amazing. Matt, congratulations on first, and good afternoon. I am sleepy, thus I have 2 energy drinks right now. I have my coffee and I have a Monster. I have not opened the Monster yet, and yes, I do have water. It's freshly refilled. So everything, I got all the bases covered. Today I was gonna work on some of my other pieces, the things I needed to do for like Rat Pig and for my Frontier Days show. But at the market yesterday, I had one person kind of make a custom request. Like, they didn't pay for it, but they requested 2 specific dogs, a Brindle Mastiff and a gray and black spotted Great Dane. So I have those sketched out. I also sketched out some ponds because those are very commonly asked for. They see my print and then they're like, where's the original of this? And I'm like, it's already sold. So apparently the pond is popular. So I'm going to do more ponds. And then these 2, I'm going to do some TFA members. Well, finding references of the TFA members is apparently really hard. I've checked like 3 or 4 different channels and I can't find my reference photos. And then for the few that I can find, they're changing their character. So I'm like, And I don't want to just do Kitten and I or Alley Cats and I because I've done it a million times, so I don't want to start with us 2. It feels a little egotistical. This tape won't stay down. It's driving me insane. It's washi tape. It doesn't always stay down. Anyway, so I'm going to start with Shay, and then do I even have one of Corey? Jesus. I don't think I have one of Corey either. I have my sketchbook downstairs, because, that would have been smart to have up here to do the reference photos. But no, I had to leave my sketchbook downstairs like a doofus. Anyway, maybe I will just do Alley Cats, because finding reference photos for all this is challenging. And I've done Alley Cats enough that I can do it from memory what the design looks like. I can't find a Koi. But there's a Koi. Those would be cute actually as bookmarks. So yeah, we're gonna steal Shay's design of Corey and Shay, and we're gonna do Corey and Shay. So those will be the first 2 done, and then I will try and hunt down later, not today, designs of Midnight. Kisa's updating, so I'll do Kisa. Kitten, I, Shao, Raid, and there's one other person. I forget who it is. I think it's Skibby. But I'll have my purple book when I go to do those. Easy to start with a few and then get the other rest, or make a request. Yes, I'll make some reference requests in the Discord. Either way, I got some designs for now, and we will get it going from there. I need to drink more coffee. I am so freaking. I have done so much this weekend and not actually rested, because when I was supposed to rest, I decided to make greeting cards. All of these are unpainted, but they're sketched out. So, and I have one right here that is going to be a personal one for a family member. So I have all these as sketched out, and I need to paint them. So I need to work on some Father's Day ones, which is why this one that is really full was over the one that's small. All the other ones were graduation, but I need to work on Father's Day because I have 0, and that is coming up. So Rest. Who knows what rest is? That's not a thing.
Why don't you figure it out yourself?
May. Whoa, May!
Asking for hand-holding won't get you very far.
May!
Use your brain for once.
May! That was rude! Okay, maybe I made her a little too mean. Anyway, I'm going to bring my phone a little closer and on this side so I can do the reference photos. And then once these are sketched, we'll get started on painting the bookmarks. Then once they're painted, I will go on to the greeting cards. And hopefully I have enough time to do all of that. I have a feeling I'm only going to be able to get the bookmarks done in time. Partially because I don't have my heat gun, which I had my heat gun Monday and I think Wednesday for I had it definitely Wednesday, but I think I had it Monday, where it just helps it dry faster so I don't have to sit and wait for things to dry. But I have 6 different pictures I'll be working on, so hopefully it'll dry pretty quickly. So we're going to just do a little body here. And then it has a little whoopee here. We have the arm coming down here. Oh no, hang on. I'm doing this wrong already. We had the little whoopee down, and then this was the bottom half of the arm. And leg coming off the side. For the TFA ones, unfortunately, I will not be selling the originals because I want to give the originals to, you know, the person who is the original. So I will be getting addresses and stuff for that. So you guys cannot buy the originals. I know it's very sad. I know you guys hate it. But that's just kind of how I want to do it. We have a little whooshy whoosh here. It's a little neck thing. Then we have...
Absolutely not. I am a majestic Arctic fox, not some fashion accessory. The meat bot is ludicrous.
Oh my god!
Plus, I have frost magic to keep me warm.
Oh, I love that. Yep. 100% fur fox skin. Sheriff is missing the sass, and I brought the sass back on her because I figured she was being a little too nice lately, and I wanted some of the sass back, and I brought it back for sure. Okay, and then that comes down. And I gotta get that face a little bit more further. There we go. Then we have bug ear here. A big ear here. Okay. And then giant eyes, because, you know, that's how everyone loves to do eyes. Gotta have the cutesy eyes. I know this isn't technically what Corey's character looks like, and Corey is a heck of a lot more detailed than this, but we're going with this one because it looks easy for me to do. And yeah, I'm gonna do a little heart nose because I want a heart nose. Then we're gonna do that and that. Corey's got a little tongue, and then the eyebrows, the eyebrows that make Corey look evil and angry. But yeah, I have had a pretty... I'm sure he feels it in his soul. Oh, I'm sure he does. I've had a pretty interesting week.
If he truly feels it in his soul, then he should understand the importance of respecting foxes and not turning them into coats.
Oh.
It's common sense.
Oh, Matt just got called out hard. I had an interesting week. I've been having some issues with my depression for about 2 weeks now, which I think may be a result of either the medication's not working or I went under something so traumatic and stressful by dealing with my mother last week that my body can't catch up and is trying to rebalance the cortisol in my system to bring it down. So that way I'm a little bit more in tune with what happened and can process it. I was doing a lot better without my mom talking to her and things like that. And then I talked to her and everything felt like it just completely undid, which unfortunately is common with my mother. She very much is, her feelings matter more than anyone else's. And that's how I was taught growing up, is to put my feelings behind hers. So I have a lot of undoing with that. And, I tried to spend Mother's Day with her anyway, and it just ended up being a disaster. I tried to set a boundary. She immediately asked how she's supposed to deal with it and how she has to not have anyone that she can replace me with for like talking to. And I'm like, therapy is a thing. But she wouldn't hear that. And it was just, I'm not talking to a stranger. It was just a disaster. So in the end, I ended up more stressed than when I went in. However, we did go get some nice sushi on Mother's Day after, which did help. It's just a matter of my body is still reacting to all of it, still having problems, and that is why my medications aren't working as well as they should. So I am kind of worried. I may be upping my medications the next time I see my doctor, but that doesn't mean we can't still take time out of our day to do a little resty rest and sketch some of our friends. Shay is so much smaller than Corey. I didn't mean to make Shay smaller. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm almost done with the sketching, and then we can get to the painting. Has a little itty-bitty ear hole. Now, I don't remember Corey's colors. That might be a problem. I know it's like a lot of grays and tans and like browns and stuff, but I don't remember them that well. So this might be a bit problematic. So I might not be able to do Shay's today. Or not Shay's, Corey's. Shay is just all gray, which is easy. Gray with some hearts and some designs in the fur, which I should be able to handle no problem. Shay's going to get a little heart nose too. Because you know what? Heart noses are cute. And then we're just going to doop, doop. And I feel like I need to add twinkle in Shay's eye, like a mischievous twinkle. I think it'd be funny. Anyway, I think that's everything sketched. Shay is smaller and way too high on the bookmark, but it's fine. That finding time like that is good. Yes, the moments can help a lot.
Corey is indeed part of the Renegades.
Yes.
It's about time you paid attention.
May!
Next, you'll be asking if water is wet.
Oh my god. To be fair, yes, she is right. Corey is Renegadus. But not everyone would know that, so, you know. That May's on a streak here today, apparently. Okay, so I've got those done. Now let's go back to the Brindle Mastiff. And this is the picture I am referencing for the Brindle Mastiff, the like colors and things. So it's got a little bit more of like a coffee chocolate brown and then like a raw sienna with a little bit of yellow brown in like some highlight spots. So with it being all kind of blendy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the dog and then add these colors in. I'm going to start with the yellow brown and kind of spread it around. And then I'm going to take the raw sienna and go in little places and then take the coffee and finish up the highlights. Or the shadows, not the highlights. I know what I'm talking about. Found something that might help for Corey's color rush sent on Discord. Thank you! I appreciate that. There's my kneaded eraser. I have not added the redeem yet. I was going to, and then I got distracted with sketching. Like, I thought of it as I was sketching. I was like, I should go do that real quick. And then I started sketching, and then I looked at the time. I was like, oh, I can't add it. But I'm going to be adding a redeem after stream today where it's called Art Request. So what it is I think I'm going to do it for 10,000. It may be 25, but I'm leaning 10. For 10,000 points, you can request a picture or a drawing of something. There will be rules like not safe for work. If it's complicated, I'll need a reference, that type of stuff. It will be
Finally,
a digital scan.
Some initiative from you.
Oh
Matt.
my god. May.
Let's hope the color
I think I made her too mean.
helps this time.
I think I made her too mean.
Maybe
oh my
there's
god.
Hope for you yet.
I'm so sorry, Matt. Do we like her this mean? Do we actually like her this mean? Should I make her nicer again, or are we loving the sass puss? Let me know. Anyway, the catch with it is for 10,000 is it will not be shipped to you, so you will not get the physical original. It will be scanned in and sent to you that way. If you're on the Discord, it'll be sent via Discord. If you are not on the Discord or don't have a Discord, you can still do the redeem. I will just need an email address so I can email it to you. So that is how we're going to do that. Otherwise, maybe when I get, maybe I'll do another 25.1 or 25k point one, and that one will be a ship to you. Just because post stamps, they are technically post stamps, but stamps are expensive. You get a set of 20 of them for like $22. I remember when stamps were like 5 cents or a penny, and I'm not saying that as like the old days type nostalgia. Like that was barely 30 years ago. They were only like a penny to 5 cents, and now they're like over $1 each. It is insane. But I will figure that out. That's part of why I haven't started the website yet, is because of the shipping. I did get a catalog, basically, that gives me different options for shipping packages. it was sent to the shipping manager of Tiger Rosie Studios, and I'm just sitting here like, that's one person. Anyway, they sent it to the shipping manager and gave me a bunch of like different boxes and things and some categories and all the shipping stuff. So I will look into that tonight.
I'll definitely leave the sass. It's part of my charm, after all. And trust me, dealing with it full-time is a small price to pay for my wit.
Oh, May, I love you. Anyway, I'll be looking at that a little bit better tonight so I can get a better idea of what I am looking for in essentially just in how to ship the bigger pieces, like the 16 by 20s. I have photos ready to go to put on the website. I have a portfolio basically ready to just have photos uploaded to it. I just need to pull the trigger on actually making the website. Part of why I haven't made it is because of the $20 a month after 6 months. If I can't get enough for $20 a month, then I kind of run out of it. But I'm also looking at the fact that because of so many of you are so far away, I'll be more likely to actually get some sales from those of you that watch the art and want to see it and want to, interact with it in person and just have it to hold, basically. That'd be better for me in the long run to actually get the site up and running. So I'm going to pull the trigger either this week or next week. This is not a lie this time. This isn't I'm just delaying it because I don't have money thing. I'm going to actually pull the trigger within the next few weeks and get that website going. Like I said, it's all set up and ready to go. I just have to hit okay. I'll pay for this one per month, and then it's set to go. I do have to still set up the shop page of it because that only is allowed to be set up if you have a if you have an actual like subscription. That's the word I'm looking for. Subscription to it. So because I don't have the subscription, I couldn't set up the shop yet. So I just have to set up the shop and the portfolio of all the photos, and we'll go from there. Take or leave the sass, totally up to you, though. You are the one that has to, that's true. I am the one that has to listen to her full time. I just feel bad that she's so sassy and mean, but I also recognize that is May, and a lot of people do like being sassed. So it's one of those, like, I don't know what to do, because she's very sassy. She's mean to you guys, but I know a lot of people actually like that type of stuff. So it's like, I don't know what I should do. Okay, so we're going in with this yellow-brown first. I'm just kind of spreading it everywhere. I don't want it to be too light because it is a very like bright yellow brown. It's almost like raw sienna, but I don't have a raw sienna or burnt sienna. I don't remember. It's one what is this color called? I don't remember. It's a very orangey color, or like an orangey brown color. Now I could go in with a thicker color of it in some areas, and that will add another depth to the coloration on the puppy. So I'm going to go in with a slightly darker here and there. So we're going to have like a little bit here, a little bit over here. And some of these I will have to wait to dry on those super dark parts just so I can add the details in of where everything is. So we're going to go a little darker down here, darker around the mouth. So these two dog pieces were actually requested by the local groomer, which honestly helps me out a lot because I've been meaning to stop in there and ask about getting my baby groomed and cleaned up because she hasn't had a proper groom experience yet. So that will absolutely help me out. I'll actually have time to drop off the bookmarks and talk about, maybe getting her an appointment with a groomer. She has very short hair, so it's not like she 100% needs it. But I just want to get her cleaned up, maybe some nail trims, that type of stuff. Professionally done, of course. Okay, so we're getting some of that definition of the picture here that was underneath. And yes, I still want it loose and kind of blendy, which is why I'm not worried about it kind of spreading out like it is. Now the next one is the raw sienna, and this one we are going to go in with it still wet and do a little bit of blending. So we have a little bit of darkness here, we have some darkness over here, a little bit of shadow over here, a tiny shadow on the ear. And it's not a super dark one, so I'm not going to do the coffee for some of these shadows. Some of these shadows, this is the darkest it will get. I will go in with the raw sienna once it's a little bit drier and kind of deepen in certain lines. This is kind of a darker spot altogether. Line I'm going to do for the mouth is going to be a nice dark gray, or dark grayish black. But for here, I am going to add a little bit more of this raw sienna.
But I'm not a pet. I'm a kitsune. I'd rather not be treated like a bookmark.
That
Besides,
actually...
Who reads physical books these days anyway?
Ouch. A lot of people still do, May. Anyway, yes. That is one of the things I'm considering, and I have on my art shop. I do admit bookmarks I can't do on site because of the fact I have to laminate them. I have to, let them dry, cut them out. I have a lot of stuff I have to do for a bookmark. So it's not an on-site commission, but I do commissions for personal pet bookmarks. And I have found a nice background set that I'm going to do for like the 5x7s when they request them, or, like 9x12s, that type of stuff. So I do have a nice background for that stuff. I could have done it for the bookmark, but I didn't think about it before I started painting. So I can't do it for this one. I might do it for the next one. I don't know. I probably won't, to be honest. Okay, then this is kind of shadowy over here. And the shadow just kind of continues on. And is there any... There's like a line right here. Okay. So as you can see, it's slowly coming together. It's not perfect, and that's because we are doing the wet on wet, which gives it a little bit more blendy feel. Once it dries, I'll do the coffee now for the non-dry areas. And then we'll go in with a darker coffee once it lightens up. There's a little bit of a line right here. A little bit here. Darker over here. And then the rest of that I think is very detailed line, so I'm not going to put, maybe a little bit by the eyes. I'm not going to put too much in here because the darkest color is a lot more of the line work where it just kind of shines. And the nose is very gray, so I don't want to do the nose quite yet. Maybe a little bit by the ear. About this ear. That ear does not, but it does have a little bit right there. Okay, the rest of that is all dark lines. So we're going to wait for that to dry. Again, it's going to take a hot minute because I don't have my heat gun. I forgot to charge it, and then I took it to the market, and then I didn't plug it in after the market. So right as I was getting set up, I was like, oh, this is still not charged. So I'm charging it currently. But, what's the best I can do? But yes, pet bookmarks are going to be a thing. Pet pictures are going to be a thing on 5x7s, that type of stuff. I just don't have it yet. That's just because of the simple part of, I'm not going to do the background on this one because I already started wetting the dog. But that's going to just be part of the future of I can do more stuff on site. So I can offer more options and hopefully make a little bit more sales. Ew, that was a hydrate, wasn't it? That was a hydrate. I should have known. I did know, actually. So right now I'm just wetting the dog. I want to get it nice and wet since I have to pause for a hydrate. And that way I can get the grays to come in here. I want a very light gray at first, and then I'm going to darken the gray, and then we'll add the black spots here and there. Since the black is going to be used as a spot and not so much a
fox, not a dog.
With a dog and wet.
And as for Rosie, well, let's just say she's lucky to have me around.
I just hydrated with coffee. Oops. But yes. We are wetting both the dog and the Rosie. All right, so we're going to go with this light gray. I really don't notice a difference between these two grays. Supposedly the light gray is supposed to be lighter, and I can get it lighter with more water, but they tend to be the same once I get them nice and light and wet. So I don't really notice a difference. I don't know if maybe it's like more of a cool gray or what the difference is, or a warm gray, I guess, because it has that red undertone. But when it's thick, it's almost exactly the same. Just kind of spreading that gray around just to get it a little bit more spread out. And I will be taking fine liners to these puppies as well, just to get more of that definition out and get some more detail going. So now for the gray, black and gray Great Dane, I need to get this one out. Oh, come on, I'm making my phone wet. Ah, I'm dropping all my stuff and it's just... zoom in, come on. There we go, okay. So the nose is a little darker, the nose area. So we're just gonna darken right there. The shadow on the cheek. And again, this is more the blurry parts, so that way it's a little bit more detailed. The eyes have a little bit of shadow in them, of course. The ears have a little bit of shadow in them. Again, I'm using that light gray to do the shadowing. I will show you guys the darker gray, which we'll try and go in with a little bit. But I'm pretty sure that dark gray is like almost exactly the same. I don't think we'll get any more darkness than we have right now. A bit of shadowing here. And that dark gray I will go in with as the liner instead of the other. Dark on this side. Then we're going to go down on the neck here. Now some of the wetness is starting to dry on the bottom, it looks like, so it is losing a little bit of its bloom, which is okay. It's not great, but it's fine. I can make it work. Take that darker gray. We're going to have a little bit right here and a little bit right here. Some shadows for the legs. A little bit right here. We're just going in and, like I said, adding that shadow wherever I see it. Because you want it to be as similar in shadowing as possible to the picture. Otherwise, your reference picture is going to make no sense. Or the shadowing is going to make no sense because you didn't follow the reference picture where the lights are. Alright, so there's that. Now we're going to go in. I'm going to take my round brush instead of my flat brush for this. I'm actually going to take the second smallest round brush, depending on how you look at it. I'm going to go into that black. I want it to be a nice watery black. We're just going to drop in some black spots here and there. Again, I want this nice and watery because I want it to spread. I probably should have asked the person who wanted this commission to have a picture of their puppy that they're thinking of or something similar so that way I could get the spots as accurately as possible to their puppy. I will have to remember that for the future, even if it is a bookmark, to grab a reference photo and just have them send it to my email. That way I can make sure I get this puppy as accurately as they were thinking. It also would help making sure I have the right kind of gray, because I think this gray might be a little too light. Some of this black is spreading quite a bit, which is okay. Just trying to get it a little bit more in detail. There, that should be good. I think that's enough spots to suggest a nice spotted puppy. And again, like I said, with that fine liner, we're going to go in and bring all the details back that are currently lost in the glow of the wetness. We'll add a little dot right here. There we go. Now this one's still wet, so I can't go back to that dog yet. But we can move on to the pond picture. So for the pond picture, I want to wet some greens. I'm going to go with malachite, sap, and bamboo. I'm not going to do them quite yet. Oh, and I'm on deep green. And then I'm also going to do the rocks, which I'm going to do a light brown. And that's going to give me the pads on both of these, as well as the other. I don't know what the other is, because words have escaped me. I can also work on this one at the same time doing the lilies. I just need a nice light green for the frog. I can't do this lily quite yet because I need to do the frog that's on top of it and then do the lily. I could try to layer it, but I don't know if that light green will show up enough when I layer it. I can try. We can see how that goes. So now that our paint's somewhat activated, I didn't give it fully long enough. It's fine. I'm just going to go in to this rock give it a little bit of color here. Hold my tape down so that way I can get that up to that edge here and get a nice straight line. But I have a feeling that tape's going to pop up and it's going to make no difference. All right, I'm wetting this a little bit more because I want to drop in some of that normal yellow brown and then raw sienna for some shadowing here. Now these ones for these pond, I'm not going to scan and make into a print bookmark because I already have a pond print bookmark. And honestly, it's not selling well because everyone wants the originals. So I'm going to only do originals in pond from now on. Unless, you know, these two, unless the print sells out, then I'll just, I mean, I'll still scan these, but I'm not going to print them out. That way I can get a little bit more options for later. Wetten this and just kind of let it loose up a little bit. Grab some more of that light brown, light yellow brown in there. A little bit more of a blendy blend. Now once that's dry, that should look like a pretty good rock. Now we're going to go into the lilies and I'm going to grab some green. I'm going to just do this nice bright green. I'm not going to change them up with like yellows and browns and all that type of stuff. I'm just doing the nice bright green. And we're just going to have some fun with it. Which, honestly, if you're painting and not having fun, there's a problem. If we have time, I am going to work on that personal greeting card that I mentioned for a family member who is graduating this year. So you guys will see that come out. I will, again, have to look up another reference photo like I am the dogs. Because, goodness gravy, do I not know how to color. Like, it's a cougar. It's supposed to be a cougar. But I don't remember what cougar's colors are. Because, you know, that would have been easy to remember. Just kind of darkening these lilies, or the lilies. And then I have the lily flowers right here and right here that I'm going to do. Just because they're not touching anything. With watercolor, if it's wet and you touch it, it will, and I'm not kidding, it will bleed together. So for the lilies, I think I'm going to do this pale pink over here with that pink as a darker part of it. So we're going to start with the pale pink. I know I'm not letting it activate. I probably should have let it activate. I should really spray paint this entire palette piece, but I am being a pain, basically. Okay, so there's that. And now we're going to do a little lift in the middle of that. Just so that way we can have that center be for the almost yellowy color, which let me go ahead and activate my yellow. Do the candy yellow. So that little center bit will turn into the candy yellow, and then we'll do that pale pink, the darker pink on the front, which will represent the front part of the lily, which will also represent the outside of the petals, which will suggest the outside of the petals are a little bit darker than the inside. Just trust me, it'll look great. These a little bit higher. There we go. Let's do another one right here. Now that Mastiff is almost dry enough for us to go back in for that baby. So I'm going to go ahead and swap over to that one's reference photo. I think if we do this next pond piece, the Mastiff will be dry enough. I hope. We'll see. All right, so now I will try and layer actually this frog, this lighter color on this frog, on this lily. If it doesn't work, I just won't do the fly. Part of it means I need to make sure that this green is nice and wet and light and transparent, so that way it can layer with the frog. So it's going to be a slightly lighter color than all the rest of them, which I might be able to actually keep all of them light. That might be a good idea. Just kind of moving that green over around to some of these other ones. Now this one does have a lily flower that that is touching a pad, so I will not be doing the lily flower on this one. Just because I wanted the focus to be on the frog, so I only did one, and the only one on here is the one touching the flower, the lily pad. Okay, that should be nice and light enough. I'm going to dip a little bit more in this one, just give this one a little touch more color here. That was a little too light on my value, which value is basically how light or dark something is on painting. I do need to work, and I got to remember to do some research this weekend coming up on what values and GSM is for paper, so that way I can explain a little bit better in my workshop class next Saturday, not tomorrow, but the Saturday after, about GSM and paper. And it looks like, as of today, I have not announced it yet on Facebook. I should really grab the Facebook page for the Fine Line Studio and like it. I think I did. But they are advertising a workshop. I think it's going to be June 13th. I can only sit 7 people right now because that's all I have material-wise. But it is set for June 13th. Let me go ahead and look up. I'm pretty sure I have them liked. Yeah, I am following them. Okay, good. Yeah, okay. I am going to be doing a class on the 13th. So that's good there. It's all good there. Okay, I think we're good. I had to get distracted there for a minute and, talk to the studio owner about making the graphic myself instead of having it out. And this lily pad's already really light or really dry, so I'm just going to go ahead and make these petals on this lily. This is it's a bit drier than I would have liked, so that's why I went in with the water. Need to point these petals a little bit more. And I didn't put a flower up there. I didn't think I put a second flower. We're going to dry out this middle bit. Like I said, we're just kind of pulling it out so that way we have the nice wetness for that candy yellow. Which it looks like those two are dry. I know I'm kind of going at these with just whatever is dry currently and jumping around. That tends to happen a lot with me. If you guys haven't been here long enough yet, yeah, welcome to my distraction. I can't do anything correctly at the right time. I'm going to go ahead and drop this in here. If it bleeds a little bit, it should be fine, but it's kind of thick right now, so I don't think it's going to bleed. And looks like the General Mastiff is done. It is dry. So now we can go in and start doing the details. So nope, that's not where the Mastiff was. Right there. Okay. So I'm going to start with this smaller round brush, and I will eventually be going into my rigger brush just to get these details in. So starting with the coffee, it's still pretty wet, so we want to make sure we have just a little bit on our brush so it doesn't overdo it. We are going to line where the mouth is. The dots on the side of the muzzle. The nose is gray, so we're not going to do that. We're going to take a little bit of a line here. And then there's a little shadow here, and we'll take a line for the ear. Line over here for the ear. Then a nice kind of dark line right here for under the chin. This ear has a little bit of a bump in it. This one does not. Does, however, have like a little line going down it. Has a little bit of dark under the chin. Now, as you can see, this is not bleeding like it was. It's staying where I want it. That's because the piece is dry. And that's how you get that nice dry kind of effect going on. Okay. See any down here. See a little bit right here. And a little tiny line for right there. That's about the closest I can get to that Mastiff. And where did I just put that rag? Is this my rag? I'm guessing this is my rag. So now we're going to go in with the grays, because the grays won't be touching anything like on the nose or anything like that. We're going to go with this darker gray, supposedly darker gray, I should say. And we're just going to add the nose, which is just like a little triangle with a little hoop. Pizza man, your pizza has arrived. The flavor is birthday pizza. What is on a birthday pizza? Is like birthday cake pizza or like birthday confetti? Like, birthday pizza sounds interesting, and now I'm curious. But hello, Pizza Man. How are you doing today? Welcome back to the Tiger Den. We do have a bit of a dark eye here. I don't know if I want to go full black or do
birthday
burnt
pizza.
Umber.
How
I think
intriguing.
I'm going to go full black.
I hope it's not topped with candles and frosting. Enjoy your unique pizza flavor.
May did the exact same question I did. Pizza-shaped cake. Ah, that's always good. I have seen pizza-shaped cakes before, and they are cool. They are really cool. Okay, so there's that dog. That cutie patootie. We're going to let that dry, and then I'm going to go in on the nose and do the dark sections of the nose, and then I'm going to go in with a gouache and highlight it, and then we will do the background. Because it does have a few highlights here and there. So that one is done. Now we're going over to the Great Dane, which I have to close and reopen. And again, this one, we're going to use that dark gray to do the lining. So we have a line right here under the ear. We have a line right here under the ear. We have a line for the eyes. Nice nose color right here, which is going to be a darker gray than the other gray. It looks like the difference between the grays is cool versus warm, not so much light versus dark. The nose kind of blends in, but that's okay. We're going to have a little bit of dots here for the sides. We have a line coming down here to separate out the mouth. Line at the bottom of the mouth, which goes down. I dripped some water on this. My bad. Line here for the neck muscles.
How thoughtful of you to celebrate Pizza's birthday. I hope the pizza
I didn't realize it was your birthday today. I feel like I should know that because you told me that last year.
To honor its existence, I suppose.
I feel like I should have known because you told me that last year. Happy birthday, Pizza. I hope you're having a great birthday. Put a little bit of shadow on this side. But yeah, I am just, I'm doing some doggo work. I got a request the other day, literally yesterday, at my shop when I was selling in the farmer's market for 2 specific dogs. So I'm trying to make those dogs now. There's the nosy. To be honest, I might actually not go in with the gouache. I might go in with the gel pen because I feel like I could get better detail if I use a gel pen instead of a gouache. And I'm starting to get some of those lines back, so I may not actually use my fine liner pens. I'll kind of blend this in here. That was kind of a weird shadow difference right there. Yes, happy birthday, Pizza Man. Okay. Then I need to do a little bit of black for the eyes on this pupper. Which, with it being a little thicker, makes it so I don't have to do as much waiting for that gray to dry. Now, these ones are not fully dry yet. The yellow is almost dry, but the pads are. So we're going to go in with the sap green, and this is going to be our lines on the pad. So a lily pad has a little central dot and then little lines coming to it.
I'm not here to wish birthday greetings to pizzas or pizza men. Ask Rosie if you want that kind of fluff.
Ouch.
Stick to the topic at hand.
That was the top. What? That was the topic at hand, May. May. Pizza Man, I'm sure you've noticed by now, but I reset May to be more sassy again because I know you guys liked being sassed, but I'm questioning if I actually want to keep her sassy. I keep, like, every time I make her sassy, I love it because then she's sassy, but then I worry people are going to get, like, too offended and not stick around. I don't know. What do you think? Should I leave her sassy? Okay, so now I gotta take this sap and dip it a few times in the water. Just wipe a little bit off, and then I have to make sure it's nice and light for this pad that is going to have the Froggo on it. Right now the Froggo is very much erased, and I'm going to have to make him from hand scratch. Then these ones can be a little bit darker. Okay, there we go. Then we're going to come up here. Oh, I thought I dropped that on the paper. Nope, it was just my table. Oh, that was going to be a heart attack. Okay. Go over here. Yeah. Okay, so there is the little lines on the lily pads. Now I'm going to go in with the bamboo green, or should I do deep green? I think I'm going to do deep green, actually, because I want to keep that more greenish feel. Bamboo green's a little bit more gray. And we're just going to line the very bottoms to represent the shadow on the lily pad. There we go. Okay. Now we're doing the same with these ones. Just taking that deep green and adding a shadow to it. And once that green on this lily pad here at the bottom, or second bottom, dries, I am going to attempt, wish me luck guys, to put a frog over it, a lighter frog than the green. And it looks like the lily pad flowers are done. So I can go in with this pale pink, as it's so called, even though I think it's a very vibrant, bright pink. And we're just going to go in and do these front flowers. And see, that gives us that nice, beautiful yellow in the middle without going too far into the flower details. We're going to come on this one. And yes, that because it's watercolor, that yellow is showing through on the petals. That is okay. I'm just trying to thicken it up a little bit so it doesn't show through as much, but it's still going to show through pretty significantly. The dogs are almost dried. I am going to go in with some fine liner details. I've decided I am going to do the fine liner details, and then I will do some white jelly to get some of the highlights in, and then from there we'll kind of see what it still needs other than a background. So I'm going to get out my white gel pens. Oh, I feel like I need to let all this dry still. There's quite a bit of it that needs to dry. And this tape won't stay down. It's dry. Okay, you know what? We're going to take one of these small ones because I haven't been using the small ones as much. I don't really need tiny lines here. We're going to tape this down using this. Hey, stay down. Which apparently can't even keep that down. Okay, hopefully that keeps that tape down. I don't know if it will. We'll find out. Gonna have to have like 4 rows of tape to keep my tape down. This is funny. So as the gray is drying on the Great Dane, it is looking a little better. It's coming a little bit more in tune, but I think I'm still, like I said, I'm going to outline it in fine liner just to give that a little bit more definition. I got those 2 done, so I don't need that. Now, while I'm waiting for the others to dry, I think I'm going to go in and do Shay. Just because Shay is a little bit easier to do than Corey, because I have most of the memorization of the color scheme. So down here and to the tips. And most of Shay is just a light gray. It's a cool light gray instead of a warm one, so I am going to use the dark gray, quote unquote. But it's going to be a lot lighter than what the Great Mastiff has for that dark gray. And then we have a little bit over here on this hand. Got the little swoopy swoop for the face. And then for the darker parts of this gray, I think I'm going to go ahead and just use the same gray, but at a thicker concentration. That way I can get that difference in color. I think that's all the gray spots, and this down here is already soaked in completely. The downside to watercolor paper, you do have to wet it a couple times, because sometimes the watercolor paper will just soak in that water really quickly. So you have to make it very, very, very wet. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take that cool gray. Just kind of drop it in here in a few places. And yes, I want it dropped in to where I get a little bit more variation in the color. I'm so used to having multiple rags that I keep forgetting to leave my rag where it's visible. Some of this gray over here. Bring some of that gray up there. Trying to lighten this gray that I have here on the arm. I have to do the same with the leg. Just kind of move some of that gray off. I don't have enough space to really push it around, which it looks like I was able to get there, so we are good. We're pushing around this gray. Just kind of moving it where the gray isn't to give it a lighter feel, lighter color. There we go. There is our beautiful Shay. At least in the gray bits. So we'll let Shay dry for a minute. The Mastiff and the Great Dane are almost fully dry. The ponds look like they're almost fully dry. I think this lily is dry enough. So we're going to go in with this light green. We're just going to make a little frog on top. So straight across, little M, and a circle on top with 2 eyeballs, which are 2 little circles outside the froggle. Which it looks like this light green, while it does pick up some of that dark green behind it, is showing up pretty well while it's thick. So we got a nice thick layer on here to show that beautiful, beautiful froggo. Which will also need liner pen because its detail is not very evident. So I gotta let froggo dry before I go for the tongue. The tongue's gonna be the pale pink that we used on the outside of the lilies. But I gotta let that dry. This one looks pretty dry. The dogs are still... The Mastiff is almost done, but the Great Dane still has quite a bit. So we're going to go ahead and start doing the blue on the pond. So I'm going to work with my turquoise, my peacock blue, and lake blue for the blue on the water. And And I don't want it too dark with the lake blue, so I'm not going to let it fully activate. I'm just going to do it a little bit, and then we're just going to go in, kind of paint around, push it around, hit all the areas around the rocks and the lily pads. There will be some areas that'll be a touch darker than the others. That's okay. Water is not all the same consistency on blue. That's part of why I want to do the peacock and the turquoise as well, because it'll add depth to the water in different areas. Now, normally it'd be easier and would make more sense to paint the blue first and then layer up the lilies and the flowers. You can do it that way. I don't like doing it that way just because I feel like that makes everything blue. And while, yes, that makes it a mother color, lily pads are pretty vibrant green, not turquoise. So it would make a weird color, in my opinion, for the lily pads to do the blue first. Now, while this is still wet, you're going to want to drop in your turquoise and your peacock blue. You do not want to wait until it's dry, because then you can't blend it very well. So I'm going immediately in that turquoise. We're just going to drop it in a few places, not a lot. You just want to kind of have a few areas to suggest depth in the water, because the darker the water that you have, the more likely you are to think it is deeper. So we're just going to kind of blend these in. And again, we're just keeping them in a little bit of area here and there to suggest depth. And the further back it is, the darker it should be. The closer to green it should be, I should say. There we go. And then just do a couple swishes here and there. We will go in with that peacock blue as well and make a little bit more detail. So peacock blue right around the rock. In the far back. And as you can see, that's bringing the water to life. Having these like darker areas. A little bit here. There we go. Touch right here. Not a lot, just a touch. And I think that looks good. I think up here, the only thing that is kind of bothering me is this blue connection here right next to the lily pad. So I'm going to do a little bit of blending and lifting at the same time, which will give it a little bit more of a nice clean look. A softer edge is what I'm looking for. Water isn't very harsh in the water, or in any water sakes. So you want a nice soft edge. And as you notice, that is giving it a little bit more depth. We could add white watercolor to it, but the white watercolor doesn't work great, so we're going to add gouache. And we're going to go over these areas and right under the rock and immediately under the lily pads to make them have more of a float feel. Got water on that. Okay, the green frog on this one looks pretty good on being dry, so we're just going to go in just like we did on the other one. And we're going to lightly put in this lake blue. You got to be careful, get it into the lily pads without turning them into a turquoise. Now, take your time with this. If you are, following along and doing it yourself, this can cause a little bit of it's a little hard. If you going around things that are really close can be really hard and intimidating, because you don't want your color to touch the other color, but you want it to not have a gap and be like free floating. I get that. It can be hard. I get it. It's not easy, but I believe in you. You can do this. So we're just going to keep putting that blue in, getting as close to those lily pads as we can get, and the froggo. And just spread that color around so it's not too thick in any one spot. It's okay if it is a touch thick, just you don't want it too thick. Keep in mind, like I said, on the last bookmark, water is not consistently the same color. So it's okay if you have some areas a bit darker than the others. That just tells me you have a more realistic water, if anything. So now remember, up top, it's going to be the darkest. And you will have some areas in the middle that will be fairly dark as well. So I think that's it for that lake blue. Now we're going to go in with that turquoise again. We're just going to bring it down. And keep in mind, like I said, you want to have this while it's still wet. That way we can get more of a consistent bleed, a little bit better gradation. I'm going to put some right here. That wasn't liquidy enough. Add a little bit more. I think those are going to be the only two places that I really add that darkness, because this is a little bit more on the water and not as much shadowing. So we're going to go in with that peacock, and we're just going to put it up here. I just realized I did no iridescent on this. When am I going to make iridescent? Maybe I'll make the Froggo iridescent. I feel like the Froggo would be cool being iridescent. So we're going to wet up our light green that we don't normally do. That one I didn't do an iridescent. We'll make the rock iridescent. Why not? Because who cares where the iridescent is? Just that you have some. Or in my case, that I have some. We're going to do a little peacock in here. As I nail my finger again. We're just going to blend that out. And that gives that lake a little bit more like depth and feeling. In this one, I am going to add some white. Normally, in any watercolor story is you don't add white, but I'm going to add some white just to lighten up these kind of central bits. But as you can see, the white doesn't really do much. So I'll show you over here. So if you do the white, it really doesn't show up white. It's not a super deep white. It's still very transparent. It just adds a little bit in your favor. Like very little bit. This is why most watercolorists use a bleed-proof gouache, which is Dr. Martin, P.H. Martin's gouache. That's where they get their coloration. And then once that water's dry, I'm also going to do a metallic pink. And for the fly, I'm going to do a metallic black. And then for the wings, of course, a metallic white. Oh, I'm getting called by a scammer again. I love that. Love that for me. All right, so it looks like the dogs are finally dry, so we're going to go in with our fine liners. We're going to detail them up, and then once that's done, we will add the background. So the smallest detail pen, as you guys saw, I yeeted a bunch of them because they were just not working. So the smallest detail pen I have right now is a 0.3. We're just going to... Oh, this one may not be working either. Okay, now it's got some ink to it. Or not. Oh, there we go. I have to hold it directly up and down. We're just going to kind of add some lines here. They're a little squiggly, but that's okay. Just going to add the nostrils here. The eyes are already pretty good. We're going to add a little line for the... Remember, hold it straight up and down. A little line for the worried look it has. Because why not? And then we're going to take some lines down here. Here. Yeah. Yeah. So that gives that dog a little bit more outline and existence. Bull Mastiff, we're going to do the same thing. Just going to slowly outline... This is not that slow. I'm going to slowly outline the pupper. Outline the nose. Give this one some nice big nostrils as well. Give that dog kind of like a little loop there. Bring it down. Bring this over. Bring that down and add some lines for the folds. So that looks good. I like that. After that, because pens don't take that long to dry, we're going to go ahead and go in with the white gel pen. So I'm just pulling one out at random. I'm using the 0.5. Again, hold it upside down, up and down. We're going to add little lines. A little bit for the nose. And this guy had some under eye lines. The General Mastiff also had some under eye lines. So we're going to give that puppy some life. I think part of my problem with the gel pens is I just I didn't hold it up and down. That may be my issue with all fine line pens. All right, so the puppies now have some life. They're happy. Let's go ahead and do the backgrounds for them. Put this back in here. So for the backgrounds on the puppies, I also didn't do iridescent on the puppy. So I'm going to do iridescent in the background. I think I'm going to do a light blue. One of those blues. And a turquoise for one. Because I don't work with the turquoise, like ever. I'll do the Viridian for it. Yeah, I don't dip much in half these colors. So for the rock, I'm actually going to do brass instead of copper. As a light wash, just enough to get it iridescent. Pond is still drying, but that one is not. So we'll go over with this one. So we're going to go in with that copper. And technically, for a wash, I should wet it down a little bit more. But I also want it to really shine. So I'm just going to do a very light coating. Which is going to blend that rock a little bit, but it's okay. All right, so the frog is dry, and it looks like that area is dry, so I'm going to go ahead and do this yellow-green, just like I did. Well, I did a light green, but I'm going to do yellow-green for the frog. And we're just going to add a little bit iridescence on top of it to help it stand out a little bit more. Now for the eyes, because the frog is so small, I am going to go ahead and use my pens for it. I'm going to use the fine liner and the white gel pens. Just because I made that frog go so small, I don't want to fight with getting those details in there. And with the pink, I'm going to do this pink. So now we're going to have our little tongue come out. Have a little dot right there. It did bleed a little bit. I didn't expect the pink to be that wet. I'm going to let that pink dry before I do the fly. Well, actually, the fly will be a touch out of range, so it'll be fine. I can just, whoop, fly. And then once it's fully dry with the fine liner, I will add the wings. I am trying to get better with using pens and fine liners with my pieces just to give a little bit more variation. Not doing great at that, but I am getting there. What was the back? Okay, we're going to go, blue and turquoise. So we're going to go with this blue, which is the just metallic blue, as it's called. So it's just your standard blue. And I'm going to give this one to the Great Dane. Trying to be careful not to get that blue inside the Great Dane. Okay. Getting nice and in there up against that Great Dane to get that beautiful iridescent background. I love iridescent so much. I know I tell you guys that all the time, but they make my brain happy. Just seeing that shine, to see something sparkle and shimmer and come to life is so amazing. And yes, I could have done the eyes or the highlights or something like that, or even the black spots with the iridescent, but I think in this case, the background of it being the iridescent is the best option. Now I'm going to come in with this Viridian? Grass green. Nope, grass green. I think that's grass green. Yeah, that's grass green. I have a swatch sheet that has the names, and I keep forgetting to look at it. So we're going to go in with this grass green for the Bull Mastiff. And we're just going to try and do the detail areas next to the Mastiff before just going on and randomly, wildly coloring in. Oh, that's got a hair on it. How dare you, hair? Now, some of this is getting into where the Mastiff is. I am not great at being very consistent at being close, but you know what? It's okay. That's what watercolor is for. All right. Then we're going to take it up. And this is where we can be a little bit more wild with the paint. You can just go side to side, paint it in, make sure it's as thick and happy as we want it to be, which I think I'm pretty happy with this. Okay. And as it dries, those paintbrush lines will disappear, which is also very nice. Make this a little darker here. There we go. So that's 2 bookmarks done. Well, drying and almost done. This one, the copper didn't do a lot of shine, so we're going to come back in with some more of it. We're just going to shine it up. There we go. That's better. And to help with it, I am going to take some of the metallic copper. We're just going to drop it in here. And I think I'm going to have to take the metallic light brown and use it for the shadows here. Well, I guess in this case, they're highlights now. It's fine. Now, for the whites on the lily pads and things like that, I would usually use my PH Martins. I didn't with the gel pen because I'm trying to get used to using gel pens instead of the PH Martins, because PH Martin is a lot more expensive than getting a pen. So I am trying to get used to that, but for these ones, I am going to use the PH Martins again. That way I can get a little bit more definition here. And as you can see, you're just ever so... Hi, cat on my hip. I saw you come in. I did not expect you to come harass me. I am busy. You're just going to add a little bit of white underneath object. That way you can get a nice, clean, kind of floaty feely on these. You can add a few swipes here and there, just to give the water a little bit more life. You can also add dots. This is where you get to be a little bit more creative and have fun with it. So your whites, though, should be following the shadow of the lily pad. So if your shadow is going on the bottom, your lights should be on the bottom as well. I don't recommend in the positions I did this for to do the shadows on top, because then it just kind of feels a little awkward. So when you look at something sideways, the side closest to you is going to be the one that has the shadow. And if you do it on the side furthest you, it just kind of feels unnatural, if you will. Do a little bit more there. There we go. That is 1 bookmark done. Or another bookmark. So we got 3 bookmarks done. I'm coming over here. The frog itself is still pretty wet, so I'm not going to try and touch the... I'm going to try not to touch the frog as best I can. Yeah, I just wet my brush and didn't dip because the PH Martins in there is already pretty thick. And I still have plenty on my brush, so I wet it to get it out instead of going for more. I don't want to waste too much of this PH Martin on my stuff. So I am not trying to dip. I need to make this a little thicker, and that's when you want it thicker, that's when you dip. Now we're just going to do some random lines, and I'm going to dip in the water again because it's not as fluid as I would like. And yes, you do go back and forth quite a bit between dipping in your paint and dipping in the water to get the nice fluid feel of it. And also dipping creates a nice thick amount at the bottom of your brush, which will give you a much better circle. This is all stuff that I will be teaching in my watercolor classes. If you guys ever want to join me, like I said, the first public one looks like it's going to be June 13th. And from there, I will let you guys know. I know it's quite a travel to go to Nashville, Michigan, which is where they will be held. But I'd appreciate it if you did. I'd love to teach you in person and help you get used to watercolor. Okay, the frog itself looks dry, so I'm going to go ahead and put the eye dots in now. Like I said, I was going to use the gel pen, but I'm going to use the fine liner for the black, so that's not going to change. I still don't know what colors Regnigigas did, but Matt was amazing and sent me them, so I suppose if I actually looked, I would know. Alright, so for Shay, let's go back to Shay here. We're going to go in with that darker gray, and we're just going to do like the ears here. Just to thicken them up. And I think the tail is also a bit thicker. Let me double. Oh, the thicker is also on the eyebrows. Hello. Thicker eyebrows. 2 different designs for eyebrows, apparently. Okay, and then there's a little heart on the back. Which I think is supposed to be white now, but the one I'm looking at is gray. So now I'm going to outline this with my gray instead of outlining with the fine liner, just because I want to have a little bit more definition. A little bit more cohesive feeling here. Probably should have did the lining with my rigger brush instead of my small round, but it's, you know what, it's okay. We'll do what we gotta do. Ew, I heard that hydrate. I think it was a hydrate. Yep, it was a hydrate. I knew it would be. Okay. Then we're going to go in with the lines for the eyes. These ones I really should do with my rigger brush. We're going to do the gray eye. I'm in with the eye over here, and I will do that hydrate as soon as I get this detail work done. Does not line there. So I will do the rigger brush for the mouth. I also forgot to do the toe beans. Hang on. No, I'll do the rigger for the toe beans too. Alright, so that brush is down. I'm going to hydrate with some water. Follow it off with some coffee, because energy. That is now empty. So I'll be using my I'll be using my monster for the next hydrate session. Then we're going to go in with that rigger brush now. Again, we want that nice dark gray going on. I'm going to make that little heart for the nose, because I think hearts are cuter. And just make the happy little smiling face. Then we're going to make some toe beans and a pad. Because, you know, everyone's got to have toe beans. It's not the same without toe beans. There we go. That looks good. I think Shay's going to judge me on the really messy eyes, but it's fine. Now, I could do Corey in the kind of monochromatic that's going on here, but Matt was amazing and sent me colors, the color schemes. So the color scheme is kind of like a grayish flesh color. So I am actually going to get out, because I don't have my palettes easily available right now. I'm going to get out my palette for my acrylics, basically. And I'm going to go ahead and mix. I don't have enough sand color. Flesh and Naples yellow, I think, are the two I'm going to mix for that. And then I'm going to add in a touch of gray. just to kind of get the other. Part of why I'm using gray is because flesh color isn't exactly on the color wheel, so I don't know necessarily what its complement is. So like red, you'd put in green. Orange, you'd put in blue. Yellow, you'd put in purple. That will help mute and kind of gray out the color. But the Naples yellow I do have, but Naples yellow is also kind of like almost a fleshy color. So that brown aspect to it is what I'm not sure I can work with. Okay, we're going to take this white that I activated earlier that is now tilted because I'm not thinking. And we're going to add it on for the fly wings. I think fly wings just have one straight out. I don't know why I'm doing that. Giant ass fly. I'm gonna add some of that black in. Just make it a little bigger. Oops. Oopsie. Okay, yep. That's how Rosie messes up a fly. Make that a little bigger. As it bleeds into the wings. Okay. I might... Hang on, we're going to try this. I might be able to get the pinpoint eye with this iridescent black. And a rigger. And I did! Do a little nose there. Outline the tongue. A big ass tongue. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add more water to this black, and we're going to outline the frog with the fine liner brush. The rigger brush, which isn't doing too bad actually. So there's a lot of things that fine lines help with, and then there's things that you can be stubborn and use a brush for. Anyway. So I'm going to wait for that fly to dry, and then I will do the rest of the tongue and then outline the fly as well. But other than that, I think that piece is done, in my opinion. Also, the dogs are done. That pond is done. Shay, I got to give a background to, and then Corey is the last one to do. So we're going to take some of that flesh color that I just wet and apparently soaked up all the water with immediately. I'm going to go ahead and spray in my pan here a little bit of water, just a little, not a lot, to help me get closer to that color consistency. So we're just going to take that flesh color, we're going to dip in it a couple times, clean the brush because I don't like mixing my pan colors. Take that Naples yellow, stick it in there. Which, yeah, that's pretty close. I think once I put the gray in, it'll be almost exact. So I'm taking 2 dips of each color. This will help that water not be so transparent, but also have enough like thickness and wetness to move and be exact. So I'm adding that little bit of gray in there. Looks like I need a touch more gray, so I'm going to go with the lighter gray, so that way I have both warm and cool grays in there. And I think that's what we're looking for. So let me go ahead and grab a swatch sheet, because in the pan it doesn't look that great. I think I added a bit too much gray. Let's add a small smidge and touch of yellow ochre. Swatch it here. I need it more muted, so let's try adding just the tiniest hint of, let's go with violet. So I'm not waiting for the violet to activate because I don't want too much of it. I just want a little more muted color. I know I didn't clean my brush in between, it's fine. There we go. Okay, so the purple is what I needed to mute it. Clean my brush with the right section. So Corey has this kind of section in the nose. Goes like this. We're just going to spread this out. I don't want too much thickness on the bottom. Get around that eye. Gotta be careful around these eyes. Ah! Hello, Sheriff. Thank you for the hydrate. As you can see, I'm almost done with the bookmarks. I did not get to the greeting cards like I had hoped, but that's okay. I can work on them this weekend. I also plan on working on some videos this weekend for posting, because I got to do my voiceovers for the watercolor making. I have one ready, like typed out what needs to be done, and the other one is still needs typed out. I definitely need a oh God, what's the word? I definitely need a manuscript. There you go. To do any sort of voiceovers. Maybe as I get more confident in my own talking, I might be more likely to do it. But as of right now, no way. Okay, so there's that color. This actually isn't that bad. This is pretty close. Corey is a little bit more gray, but that's okay. It's fine. And then it goes down to Defeatsies and the tail. The tail has a darker spot on it, which is like a dark gray. So I will use a dark gray for that. But I'm kind of spreading out this color again, just that way we get that nice lighter version of it and not the darker version. Kind of get it wet here so it spreads a little better. All right, and then Corey has like little dots and stuff at the bottom of the feet, which I don't think the feet will see, but you'll see them in the other areas. Corey definitely needs to dry with those layers before I go after him. And then it has a much lighter version for the ears, the inner ears of that color. So I'm just going to take a little bit into a separate panel and then whiten it with water. Okay, so that's a little too light. That'll work. Okay. So that slightly lighter color is on the inside of the ears, which I get almost looks white. It is so close to looking white. Okay. So Corey is going to be left to dry for a bit. Shay, do I want to? Yeah, I'll use the PH Martin. I didn't hydrate. I'm sorry, Sheriff. I'm hydrating now. There. So for Shay, I'm going to go in with that PH Martin's white with my slightly thicker round brush because the eye is so big. We're going to add a little bit of highlight. This is a little, I have too much product and not enough water. I'm going to go on this eye. It's a little bit of a derpy Shay, but it's fine. Everything is fine. We're going to kind of create a little bit more point in this, because there is a point there. And then I think that should be good. Just a little bit of cleaning up these lines. Try and get that nice white cleanliness. And then tonight when I go to post these on the Discord so people can see them in TFA, I'm going to have to be like, I forgot everyone else's characters, and Kisa, I know you're in the middle of changing. So I need reference photos. Send me all the reference photos. Okay. Now we're going to mix up that darker color, which seems to be like a really dark brown. So I am going to take, it's the same bases as the light skin. So I'm going to take and get this a little wet, and I'm going to take a lot of this over here, because I don't want to deal with that base in case I have to layer up. Whoops. Don't darken on me. And now I'm going to go in to the burnt umber, which is right here. We're going to darken this up quite a bit. Now let's see. It is a touch on the gray side. You know, I'm going to add a touch more gray. Okay, so now we're going to swatch it here. And that is pretty close to the color. Again, it's a little bit more muted and less gray. So let's try adding a touch of purple again. I'm going to see if that touch of purple kind of helps mute it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit more muted and less dark. So I guess for brown, your complement is purple. So we're going to go in here and we're going to make the little bands of dark and then little dots. Band of dark. Can't see the tip of that, but you can see it here. Oop, that was a little too much water, but it's fine. Some dots there. And then the tips of the ears. Now, Corey's got a lot of color here, so I think I am going to fine line Corey, just like I did the doggos. I'm tempted to fine line Shay too, but we all know how I do with that. So we do a little heart. And then I'm going to swap over to the rigger brush. And again, I might fine line it with the dark color. I don't know yet. And we're just going to do a little happy face. And with this one, Corey did have their tongue out. So I'm going to go ahead and add the tongue. Before I add the line of the tongue, I am going to go ahead and add some pink for the tongue. I'm going to wet that a little bit because I don't want it to be too dark. Just a touch of pink. Just it is touch. And then for the scarf, I think it's a red. I don't remember, but we're going to go with red. I'm going to do a lighter red than this. So I'm going to go in and take my water and just bring that water in here just to lighten up the color. The littlest mlem.
I'm not a fan of being called the littlest mlem.
What? That wasn't you,
I'm
May.
a majestic kitsune, not some tiny creature. Show some respect for my frost magic and three tails.
Oh my gosh, May. We weren't talking about you. We were talking about Corey. May is so sensitive. I hope you guys don't mind the sass, because I don't know if I want to redo her again, and I know if I redo her, I'm going to miss the sass, because I can't get between sassy and mean and not sassy and mean. I can't get that nice fine in the middle section, so I'm trying really hard. And I think this is going to be about the best I can do with her in the way she's coded. All I did in the coding was just get rid of haughty. She isn't to be haughty. So she was supposed to be like sassy and haughty. But I get rid of that and now she's this. She's mean. So Corey does have blue eyes. What type of blue? That blue. I'm going to go ahead with that circle that I saw, and I'm going to do a little bit of blue here. Just a nice light blue. And then I will go in and do a drip at the top. Tiny, tiny drip at the top to make a slightly darker blue on that. So I'm going to take the, titanium blue. Just going to dip it up here at the top. And that'll create that nice gradation going on. Except for this one is not playing nice with the gradation. There we go. Okay. And her eyebrows are the same color as that dark color. So I'm just going to come up here and just do, oops, that rigger brush is splitting. So we're just going to go ahead and do that nice little eyebrow here. Eyebrow here. And now, what I'm thinking of doing is have Shay's background be the blue eyes for Corey, and then the gray of Shay be the background for, the blue of Corey's eyes will be Shay's background, the gray of Shay shall be Corey's background, is what I'm thinking right now. So we do need a slightly darker red, ever so slightly. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that pigment and put it into this container here. And I'm going to just add some lines onto this scarf to give it a little bit more of a feel of its separation. And I get not a lot of people still use bookmarks anymore. It is rare to see someone use a bookmark. But I have fun making them, and you'd be amazed how many people keep saying, well, so-and-so reads all the time. My brother, my spouse, my children, and a lot of people actually are very interested in buying bookmarks. It's surprising. So we're going to take this light blue, and we're just going to put it all over the background, and I will do a dark titanium blue for the top. And have the gradation be somewhere in the middle between the two, so it feels more like the eyes of Corey's. I just realized I didn't do any iridescent, so we're going to actually make this iridescent blue. Corey's, I could do the red iridescent, the red neck piece, but I've already finished that piece, so I may just do the silver for the background. I do have a darker blue, so I can still do that. I'm going to do the navy blue, and I'm also going to activate the silver. I am still going to do that gradation with the iridescent blues, don't worry. So I'm going to take this up here. We're going to go to about here with this color. And then we'll do the dark navy blue and do the gradation as best I can. Because the metallics don't like to gradiate or be metallic if they're too wet. The shine just doesn't get everywhere enough. I have noticed when I laminate anything with iridescent, the lamination takes away from the iridescent just a touch. So that's always fun. Now we're going to go in with that navy blue here, which I don't think I've dipped in at all outside of swatching. So I think this is my first time dipping in the navy blue. It's not very blue, though. It's very muted blue. I'm tempted to mix it with another blue just to get a little bit more vibrance blue, like Corey's eyes. Now, the nice thing about watercolor is there's a couple ways to mix it. You can mix it in a palette, or you can mix it on a paper as long as it's still wet. So you can have different ways of getting the color you need. And yes, it's a lot of back and forth when doing gradation. Which that blue is making this navy a little bit more vibrant. So I don't know if I can keep it in the same color family. There we go. Clean my brush, do a little bit more water to help blend this. There we go. That's looking good. It's looking good, guys. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I don't know if I should like it. All right, so I'm going to go back to the rigger brush, and I decided I am going to outline Corey with that dark color instead of a black or using a fine liner. So we're just going to slowly make our way around Corey with this darker brownie color. And yes, I get that makes the ears not stick out as much. There we go. Now Corey doesn't, oh, I lost my picture. Okay, Corey doesn't have a line in the face, so I'm not going to do the face. I'm going to pray that this neckerchief is dry enough that I can line it, and it looks like it is. And then we're going to come down here and line the hand. Now, I didn't see any toe beans on Corey's part of the image, especially with the hands the way they are, and I didn't get the feet in there, so I shouldn't have any toe beans I need to paint in. But just know that Corey has toe beans too. Okay, and then we come down the line here. Hoping that the spread of my bristles isn't becoming too much of a problem. As you use paintbrushes, they do start to spread and bristle out. And this one just is wanting to bristle so much. It's not even that old of a paintbrush, which is what concerns me the most. This paintbrush is not even like, I guess it is like 6 months old. 5 months, I guess. Never mind. It's been used for a while. Or did I get this for my birthday? I thought, no, I got them for Christmas. So yeah, I got these for Christmas, and yeah, this rigger brush really wants to fray. I do have other rigger brushes that I bought recently that I haven't used as much. I just haven't swapped what container I carry them in. So I always use the ones that are with my sables instead of the new ones. Which I really should probably start swapping them with how much this is fraying. Okay, are the eyes dry enough? One is. The other one isn't. And I apologize if my head's starting to block things. I have the worst vision on the planet and can barely see anything from far away, so I have to zoom in my face quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to try and take some of this blue out to help it dry a little faster, particularly at the bottom here. Okay, that should dry a little faster. We're going to take a touch more titanium blue up here. Take a little bit of water to blend that. Give it a softer edge. And we'll give that eye a second to dry. While it's drying, I think I'm going to go ahead and go in with that silver for the background. So the silver is a little bit more deep silver and less dark silver. Actually, I might be able to lighten it up. Let me try lightening this up. I want it to be a closer silver to shea silver than it is a like dark metallic silver, like a metal silver. So we're going to go in. We're going to take some of that silver. We're going to take some white, a nice good helping of white. And that is lightening it up beautifully. And then we're going to take the last part of lightening, which is some water, and we're going to spray that in there. About two squirts. I'm going to take my swatch sheet, and we're going to swatch it, and that is much more like a Shay's color. It's a bit on the light side, which is okay. I might take that much silver. There we go. Okay, so that should look good for the background. So we're going to take Shay's color, and we're just going to put it in here next to Corey. And it is getting a little light on the color. I apologize. I might have put too many squirts of water in there. But it's okay. You can see a difference, especially when I remove that tape. You will still see a difference between where the silver is and where the white is. With it being silver, it also is a lot lighter and having that much water. So it's actually just kind of making the ears and the outside shiny, like there's a glow, instead of like covering the color. Because unfortunately with this brush, I do not have a lot of control, and I don't want to rigger brush this much background. I don't even want to line it with the rigger brush, because I'd have to make it so thick. But the key is to just take it slow, which I am not doing, which is part of the issue. Guys, I can't believe it's already 2:49. It took me 2 hours to do 6 bookmarks. That is insane. That should be a nice coloration of the background. Now I just gotta let that dry. And the other ones are dry, so they should be good for me to sign. I could use a fine liner to sign, but I like using my brushes. I don't know why. So I'm just gonna dip in this black. And the key to a good signature, apparently, that I've been messing up is don't sign too big. So I'm going to do a little tiny... Yeah, it's too wet. Yeah. So that wasn't a good one. So I'm going to dry that off, and we're going to try this again. Now it's not enough black. Maybe I will be doing the fine liner. I think I can pull this one up. Maybe. Try again. Yeah, I can. Haha. Okay. That's fine. That's totally fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. We're going to sign this one. Two, three. We're going to sign this one. But yes, when you do bookmarks, you do have to sign each individual bookmark. Just signing the big page won't do anything, because if someone picks up the bookmark, then and they don't get the one that was in the corner, then they don't get the signature. Oh, I forgot to do the color for Corey's eyes. I also have to highlight them, but for now I will sign it. Two, three. I almost said this Corey was done, and I haven't done any of the highlights or anything like that. I do have to go in with my gouache white on that right eye because it did lose some of the white feel here. Just going to add that gouache in there. Now, gouache is bleed proof, so I should be able to just take my watercolor immediately and go over it without having to stress about it bleeding anywhere. Gouache does mix with the color though, so it does make it a little lighter. There we go. All right, so there is Corey done, and well, minus the eye shines, which I have to add in a few minutes. But there is 6 bookmarks essentially done in 2 hours. Oh my goodness. Okay. Like I said, I have a personal greeting card that I have to do. Probably tonight I'll head downstairs and work at the table. I could stay up here, but you know what? I should take this afternoon to break. I've been so exhausted, and I have not been taking breaks. I've just been making. I think tonight I'm going to take a break. Tomorrow I may come back up, work on some greeting cards and things like that. I may stream, I may not. I also got to, like I said, do the voiceovers for the videos that I made. Because technically I think one was supposed to release this last Monday and it didn't, or this last Monday was the last one I had to release. And I'm trying to do a video a week. For those of you that don't know, they're over on my YouTube channel. I have time lapses, I have how to paint. The ones I'm working on is how to make your own paint, and all that fun stuff. I do have more gum. Oops, I dropped my chapstick again. I do have. Ew, thank you for the hydrate. I'd say it was pretty productive, given you've been chatting with us the whole while. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Matt. That's very kind of you. I guess I can hydrate with water. I did get some gum arabic that is not the pre-made Winsor & Newton one. So I will be learning how to mix this, and then I'll make a video on how to use powdered gum arabic instead of pre-mixed and pre-liquid, basically, gum arabic. That eye is not dry yet. Try that a little faster. Anyway, I had a lot of fun today. I know you guys kind of want to see the finish of Corey, but it's getting pretty late and I need to be ready for my kids. I don't know if they're here already or not. Probably not. I had a lot of fun. Oh, I forgot to... I know what I can do while I wait for Corey's thing to dry. I can fine line my little fly.
Oh, please, don't flatter yourself, Matt. I'm here to keep an eye on things, not because I enjoy chatting with you. And I'll be the judge of whether it was a lovely stream.
May, that's mean. May, that's so mean. Anyway, I forgot about the fly. Now the fly is fixed. Is there anything else that I forgot to line? I don't see anything else. Okay. Anyway, I had a lot of fun today. It's been wonderful. The eye's going to take a hot minute to dry, so I don't want to keep you guys just to see me draw 2 little white dots. So I will see about streaming tomorrow. We will work on greeting cards then if I do. If not, I'll figure out I'll be working on them anyway. I'll probably just stream because I'm working on them and talk with you guys. So that way I'm not lonely up here. I'm going to try and break for tonight, but we all know I'm going to be making more greeting cards instead of breaking. Because why would I ever do that? I think we're good. I'm slightly delaying so you guys can see me add the white dots, but, you know, it's not that big a deal. I do have to get downstairs, like I said, for my kids. I don't have the kids this weekend, so that's why I'm thinking I can stream tomorrow. I don't plan on going anywhere this weekend, but that doesn't mean we won't, because I do have some errands to do in another city that's a little bit more north of me. So I may go out and, you know, get those. But we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. So I appreciate you all. I love you all. I'm so happy so many of you came to hang out with me today and watch me make some bookmarks. It was a ton of fun. And I will see you guys all Monday at the very latest.